This rare 90s Lenco tape player caught my eye. It's inspired by Disney and has a see-through rear window to watch its mechanism. But there's just one problem. It was listed as spares and repairs. So let's see if we can fix it. So as I mentioned, I spotted this Lenco CR314 stereo cassette player listed on eBay as spares and repairs, and I just couldn't pass it up for two reasons. Firstly, it has this amazing 3D Mickey and Minnie design on the front that seems to be really uncommon, and it's actually also endorsed by Disney. And secondly, I spotted this clear viewing window on the rear that straight away it reminded me of the my first Sony Walkman range, and in particular the WM-300 that was released in 1990, where they were trying to get kids engaged with like music devices by letting them see what was going on. And I think it's pretty obvious when you look at them side by side that Lenco took heavy inspiration from that model. But those two things, the design and that, just really made me want to get my hands on it and see if I could fix it. All I know at this stage is that it's tested but not playing tapes. So let's do some initial testing and just take things from there. So first of all, let's pop some batteries in. Look at this glitter effect here as well, this glitter inside the resin. So, and also what else we got? So we've got volume, DC, headphones, audio limiter, nothing on there, nothing on the other side, and then three simple things: stop, fast forward and play. Okay, so it's a pull and open up. Having a look inside, the battery contacts look pretty clean, to be fair. It looks like it's just going to be two AA batteries. First things first, let's just see if we get any life out of it. So nothing at all when we hit the play. So yeah, nothing there at all. Just a little roll. So yeah, getting nothing there at all. Tell you what, why don't we see if we can bypass it? And it's a DC 3 volts with a negative inner core. So what we'll do is we'll get this adapter out. And there was no signs of life there. So the next thing we're going to need to do is get ourselves inside. So what have we got? We've got 4 obvious screws. Don't usually get screws like this long and pointy, almost like little wood screws. Okay, and then so the whole front section just comes off there now. And the main thing I'm seeing is the board's a little bit tacky, a little bit dirty. I'm just going to see if I can just put some bench power supply directly onto here and see if anything happens. See if there's any life at all. Okay, I can actually hear something. I can hear a motor turning, but it's very quiet, which is why I might not have been able to hear it. So let's have a look. As with most things, obviously it can be the band that goes. Okay, I tell you what, let's just go for a clean up on this side with IPA, and then we'll open up this side and just clean it internally there, and then we'll get a belt on it. So let's get a toothbrush for this one. And now I'm just going to use a little bit of contact cleaner just inside these switches and the pots of potentiometers. That stick is probably going to need something just to stick it down a little bit better. So you can see that's just falling off, so we'll replace that as well. So now we need to get ourselves a better belt. And this one here looks like a good candidate. It's just ever so slightly smaller than the original to come back to its original size. So what we'll do first is just clean up where the belt's going to run. Oh, right, okay, so there is actually another belt. So we are going to need to go down inside a little further. There is the second belt, sits on the bottom down there and runs onto this wheel down here. So there's our other belt. Doesn't feel too bad, but you can see it's a little bit misshapen if it hasn't been used for a while. It's kind of an egg shape rather than a circular shape. Okay, so I think this one is a good replacement. Again, you can just see it's ever so slightly smaller and not misshapen. And now we'll try it with some ground power, bench power, and just make sure there's nothing glaringly going wrong. That's all looking good. So what we'll do now is, let's see, I'll just air can inside here, get out any dust and bits and bobs. And let's get this stuck down now. It's got a little bit of stick. I think possibly just some Pritt stick should just be enough on this. But no, I am totally wrong. It doesn't want to stick on there at all. So plan B, let's get some good double-sided tape and stick that down. There we go, that'll do. So in the next stage, let's put the back on and then clean out the bits on the front. That's hardly attached there. See that thing there? That's going to need probably just a little bit of double-sided tape just putting under there as well. Okay, so this end's had a little bit of reinforcement just to stop it popping out. Like I say, you'd normally be pushing from this side. So one of our problems, which I didn't realise we had, is it's a very simple mechanism in here. It's sitting on plastic down here, no metal, and we're missing one of our arms. So the arms that hold the tape cassette in place. We've got one for ejecting, but it's always better to have two. We'll have to just see if that affects functionality, because we haven't actually tried the tape in this yet, have we? Well, that jack's a bit wobbly. We might have to go all the way back inside and have a look at that jack, because that is not on right. But we'll see if we can get any life out of it first. Yeah, it's really slow and I'm getting a lot of static out of one of the ears, and that is super wobbly. So yeah, we're gonna have to go back inside now and have a look at that jack. So I'm inside here and you can see the jack is wobbling around. If I hold it like this. See the movement there? There's two legs at the back, you can just see it there. And although the legs are moving around, there's not much movement in the joints, to be honest. So I've already heated up my soldering iron. I'll just see if I can hold it to the board and just kind of reaffix it a little bit. No, see, as soon as I put it in, it just wants to move off. It's just moving forwards and backwards with that jack there, which is not what you want. Wonder if I just take the jack off and have a look at it. Okay, so here's our jack. So what's the problem with it? It's really quite tight. I don't know if this is like a smaller jack design, but it's really struggling when I'm pushing in. You can see these legs even right now moving. Oh, there's these little tiny bits here that stick up. I feel like they're supposed to sit in those little holes and lock it in place. So what I've done is I've used a pair of tweezers just to kind of straighten the legs out again, straighten the little bits at the top, and they seem to hold in, like mechanically hold in a little bit better than they were. Put a couple of dabs of super glue just on the top to give it some extra strength, and a couple of dabs right at the back. And it seems at the minute to actually then hold, like have enough strength between the two to put a jack in and out. And what I might also do is just put a little dab of super glue on the base to hold it onto the circuit board. Okay, that is the jack re-secured. So whilst we're in here, should we at least see if we can get the speed anywhere near where it should be? So we've got a good speed adjustment. Okay, so I'll spare you the pain. It was just bugging down slightly, and unless you're going to get exact belts from online for certain models, you kind of just get a feel for how tight these should be, and I just felt like the ones that I put on were a little bit too tight. So literally a fraction of the size bigger on the two belts. It's actually running really nicely now. So what I'll do is I'll take it upstairs and see if this will take my calibration tape. Okay, so here we are back from speed calibrating, and it was as I suspected. When you get quite a novelty device or a cheap device, often my software doesn't pick it up. Maybe it's not able to generate the frequency of the tape or something like that. So I had to go old school, which was basically put a tape in there. I used Depeche Mode this time, and I'm listening to it on headphones whilst also listening to it online, and I go over a number of different songs, and I speed calibrated through the back here, speeding up and slowing down until they were about right. So how did we get on with this restoration? Well, there was a few things that needed doing. First of all, we had to go inside and get the belts sorted. And I initially put in a pair of belts, but I wasn't happy. It was bogging down a little, so I went a tiny bit up, and that started to work. Whilst I was in there, I also refixed the sticker on here, and I also put a little bit of double-sided tape just on the inside of the glass here. Now, whilst I was in there, I spotted that there was actually an additional problem, which was this pesky headphone jack. And the problem is, I think way back then, the size of the jacks must have been a little bit smaller, because I've checked other jacks upstairs just now, and they're all a really tight fit. And I think what had happened over the years, people had used these jacks and it had just like damaged it. And so what I ended up doing, if you remember, was taking it apart, straightening out the metal bits, resoldering it, but also reinforcing it with just a small amount of super glue on the bottom of the jack, so as well as the solder that was going to hold it in place. So then, as you can see, now when you push the jack in, it's fine. You can get your jack in and you can get the jack out. So you can see I'm moving that in and out. It's staying in the same place, and so that's all been fixed up. So that's been done. And also the power wasn't working either. So right now I have no batteries in. I'm plugged in, and what you'll notice is if I now put the DC jack in and I hit play, there's no tape in, you can see that now works, and I've just given it a bit of a clean up. So with all that said and done, why don't we pop that test cassette back in that you've been hearing. I'll plug in the headphones and then you can hear it working. Okay, so that's the batteries in now. Pop the tape in, put the headphones in, right, and away we go. So as you can hear, we've got the song coming out of here. Our volume works. We've got a little volume slider, so all the way down to all the way up. And then when it's on there, you can also hear the limiter coming in and out. And fast forward, play. But there you go, all working. That was restoring, I would suggest, a rare or uncommon Lenco CR314 tape cassette recorder. Yeah, a really nice item, and I think you'll agree, anyone who's a fan of Disney or unusual tape cassette players would absolutely love to snap this up and put it in their display. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it or subscribe to the channel. There's always stuff coming thick and fast. I've got some great items in I'm really looking forward to. And until the next one, all the best, take care, and see ya.